This is Cubarsi. This is Pique. This is Cubarsi. And this is Pique again. The Spanish have always been able to produce fantastic ball-playing center backs. From Fernando Hierro to Pique to Ramos, if you want a defender who is as good on the ball as a midfielder, you go to Spain. In their golden years, Barcelona were a fantastic defensive side, anchored by Pique. Whether it was the sextuple squad from 2009, or the Champions League winning team of 2011, or the treble winners of 2015, there was one common ingredient at the heart of the defense. But as Pique got older and new signings weren't able to provide the consistency needed, Barca began to struggle. But what if I told you, at a time where they needed it the most, La Masia produced a defender, a baby-faced assassin, who has the potential to become even better than the legendary Pique. La Masia is notorious for producing high-quality attackers, but when it comes to central defenders, that list isn't too long. When they have produced a quality defender though, that guy has gone on to win everything with Barca. No better example than Puyol and Pique. The two came out of La Masia and were central to Barcelona's incredible 2008-2009 campaign where they won the sextuple. They complemented each other so well, with Puyol being the captain, the leader, playing with tenacity and aggression. Then Pique brought the composure, exceptional ball playing, and was fantastic in the air. Of course, Rafael Marquez and Abidal deserve a shout out as well for that 2009 season. Abidal was even there in 2011. But Pique really is the most important one to look at because he continued to be the anchor for Barcelona's defense as the years went on. In a team that was filled with small, talented players, he was one of the few players to provide strength and size. It's a very rare quality for a center back to be as tall as Pique was, but be so good on the ball. His ability to initiate attacks from the back was essential for Barca's possession-based football. His precise passing and composure under pressure allowed him to distribute the ball so easily, breaking the opposition lines. I mean, we're talking about a guy who would sometimes act like a striker and come into the box late in games when Barca needed a goal. Well, it appears that Barcelona have produced another top quality center back in Cubarsi, a player who actually has many of the qualities of both Pique and Puyol. But in my opinion, Cubarsi has the potential to be better than both of them. You see, Pique started his career at La Masia, playing as a defensive midfielder, but before he even signed his first professional contract with Barcelona, he decided to join Manchester United. In fact, he was so young that United didn't even pay a transfer fee for him. He ended up returning to Barcelona in 2008. Meanwhile, Cubarsi integrated seamlessly into the first team directly from La Masia. In April of 2023, he trained with the first team for the first time, having been called up by Xavi. He actually signed his first professional contract with the club just 3 months later. Due to his good performances and what he had shown, he was included in Barcelona's preseason squad ahead of the 2024 season. He would have to wait till the 18th of January 2024 to make his first team debut against Unionistas de Salamanca in the Copa del Rey, being subbed on in the 46th minute. His first start came in the next match against Real Betis in La Liga, a day before his 17th birthday. But it was really the Champions League match against Napoli that introduced the world to his talents. He became the youngest player to debut at 17 years and 50 days in the competition's knockout phase, breaking the record formerly held by Bayern Munich's defender David Alaba. To make the moment even sweeter, he was named man of the match. I really can't express enough how fantastic that performance was. Going up against the reigning Scudetto champions, led by one of the deadliest number 9s in Victor Osimhen, as well as one of the trickiest wingers in Kvaratskhelia. And this baby-faced assassin just completely shut them down despite it being his European debut. This was a massive game for Barca. Not only were they struggling in La Liga, but there was an increased pressure and expectation on Xavi to finally have Barca performing good in European competitions. Given Barcelona's track record in the Champions League, the club wanted to get back to winning ways after having not won the trophy in almost a decade. And when you look at the reasons why Barcelona have failed in Europe, it's quite simple. A leaky defense. You see, when you look at the teams that have won the Champions League recently, they all have one common ingredient: a rock-solid defense. The City team that won the treble? Well, Pep was playing center backs at fullback to make sure he wouldn't get countered. The Real Madrid side that won in 2024 had Rudiger playing like the best defender in the world. The Liverpool side that broke Barcelona fans' hearts around the world, well, they had Van Dijk, a center back who was literally on the Ballon d'Or podium. And then when you look at Barcelona back when they had European success, well, it wasn't just because of Messi's excellence. Their success also came from having Pique in his prime. Pique's downfall happened so quick that I think people forget just how good he was. He was at the heart of not just Barca's success, but also Spain's. From 2010 to 2015, he was one of, if not the best defender in the world. Throughout these years, his partner in crime would change, but the success didn't. At first it was Puyol in the late 2000s, as Barcelona became European champions in 2009. Then Mascherano became Puyol's successor, but Barcelona continued to win as they lifted the 2011 Champions League as well as the 2015 one. Then for the national team, Pique was at the heart of it all, as Spain won the 2010 World Cup as well as the 2012 Euros. Pique's long strides were like a spider's legs. It was impossible to get by him. While all those qualities that made Pique good, the ball playing ability, the vision, the composure, the ability to be good in the air, Cubarsi has all of those. In the first leg against PSG in the 2024 season, a section of fans were sending abusive chants to Cubarsi, but he just stood there smiling with his hands in his pocket. Then just a few hours later, he kept Mbappe quiet for 90 minutes. It was unprecedented. A 17-year-old being so cool despite the hostile environment and the pressure around the match. That calmness is just how he plays. He is so comfortable on the ball, willing to take risks. In fact, Flick's entire system of build-up is reliant on Cubarsi's vision and decision-making. It's Cubarsi's job to know when to go forward, when to be direct, and when to hold the ball and circulate possession. Flick has given him that responsibility. That's how much faith he has in a guy who is still a teenager. Even opposing managers like Valverde talked about how it's impossible to press Barca because of Cubarsi. He can just pass in between the lines or break the entire press with one pinging long ball to the attack. The passing is of course the quality that stands out the most, but he's an incredible defender. He reads the game so well, knows when to be aggressive and when to be more patient. He will put in a tackle that will take out the attacker and the ball, then smile at him. You also have to realize that being a center back at Barca is very different than being a center back at some other different clubs. You don't have to just be comfortable on the ball. You have to be quick with your decision making. You have to be good in 1v1 situations. You have to be able to hold the offside line. Knowing when to step up to make the attacker go offside versus when to drop is something that even the most mature of center backs struggle with, and Cubarsi has the responsibility of leading that line for Barca. In fact, what Cubarsi is doing is arguably even harder than what Yamal is doing. I'm not saying Cubarsi is a better player than Yamal, but a good, young, talented attacker, we've seen that before. Whether it was Yamal, whether it's Messi, even Fati before the injuries. It's more common to see these kind of players because it's easier for an attacker to take more risks. But as a central defender, you have to be perfect. If you make a mistake, that's a goal. You could have made 99 perfect passes, but the headlines and people are only going to remember your one mistake. It's a lot of pressure and responsibility. It's also a position that is grueling physically. I mean, it's why traditionally center backs get better with age, because they mature both from a physical perspective and mentally. But that's what makes Cubarsi so impressive. He is the full package as a central defender, and he's a teenager. This is unheard of. Even Pique that we were talking about, how great he's been, how phenomenal of a career he had, when he returned to Barcelona, he was 21. He didn't go straight into the first team from the academy like what Cubarsi did. Cubarsi, he's elite. There aren't any youngsters out there like him. Who at that age is anchoring an entire defense, and not just any defense, one of the best defenses in the world. With all Barcelona stars, you just have to hope they stay healthy. Because if he can continue this form, then I don't see why he can't help Barcelona lift silverware the same way Pique did. It's of course still early days, but we're looking at a player who has the potential to not just be the future captain of Barcelona, but an all-time defender. Now of course, he isn't the only La Masia talent that can help Barcelona achieve amazing things. Yamal is there too. To see how Yamal has become the face of the new generation of football, you have to check out this video right here.